Hello, my name is John Liu, Flow Ninja, and today I have a video about how to update this video's title with Flow, with Power Automate. And this is a kind of a fun example. I saw some videos on YouTube that people were using code to update the YouTube title to the number of views of that video. I thought, that's a pretty interesting scenario. We should be able to build this using just Flow. So I set out to make this and to learn a little bit about the YouTube APIs and also how to authenticate with Google. So this video will be in several sections. If you just want to see the video being updated, that's the first part, and then we'll show you a bit about the flow, and then and finally what you need to do if you need to set up all these APIs for yourself. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so I did a bit of setup. First, I created a very short video, just a 20-second video. And this is an unlisted video. So this video is not published. You can't see it. But it is available if you know the URL. And when we save a video, then YouTube assigns this video ID. Copy that. Now, to be able to read the stats, and the one I'm after is the 3 views. To be able to read the stats, we will need to talk to the Google Data API. So there is a YouTube action in Flow, but unfortunately there are no actions in it. There are a bunch of triggers if you upload a video, or you can use it to update a video. Okay, so what we're gonna do is first we're gonna call the Google Apps YouTube v3 Video API. We are going to need our video, which I put this ID here. So that's the query we're gonna do, ID. So Google API has many segments. We want the parts for stats and also snippet. So we want 2 parts of JSON. And also we need an API key. Now to get an API key, this is probably the simplest step. We go to, you can search for Google APIs. But basically you land here, which is a thing called the Google Console Developer Console dashboard. And if you've never been here before, you will be asked to create a new project. So a project will, give it a name. Once you have created this, you need to, so this is what is called a API project. So once you have a project, go into the API app services. You can usually hit. So if you're over in admin side, maybe you're looking at setting over here. So maybe you're over here, just pop over the menu and pop over to API services. The first thing you're gonna want is head over to the API library. You're gonna look for YouTube down here, and you're gonna take the YouTube Data API. Okay, so just take that and then hit enable. That will enable this API. So you need to do that. The next part is, let's pop back to library. So if you enable the API, you will see that the API is enabled here. The next thing then is we need to go over to credentials. Now, credentials, there are 2 parts. Firstly, we're going to create just the API key. And that's quite simple. Just do API key here. Then you'll get one of these API keys. You could copy that key. Okay, so if I pop over here now, and if I just paste the key, you'll see the key is the same. And there are no advanced settings, so it's purely just a Git. Okay, so that first part is very simple. We call the Google Apps API using just a HTTP request. We are asking for stats and path. We provide the video ID, and we also provide an API key. And what this is able to show us is this little JSON that says there is items. So when you call the Google Video API, you could get 1 or more video back. So because I'm querying by the ID filter, there's only 1. But if you're querying by, say, a title, you could or even a channel, then you can get a list of video back. Now the first video, if I scroll down a little bit, you see the title says it's viewed 3 times. And then there's a second segment. Where is it? Over here, the stats now says the view count is 4. So when I clicked on that video, I viewed it, so now that is 4. We need a bit of JSON to pull out the number 4. And let me pop back over to edit. That is basically the body. So the output body JSON has an items array. Put that in first, and then we need the statistics view count. Okay, so that is the JSON to fetch the number of the title. Now, the next part is we want to actually update the YouTube video. YouTube video update can be done via the API, but there is a trick to it in that the YouTube update API is YouTube APIs are separated between what's public, so anything that's like stats or just reading the info of that video, that's all public API. So if you just have an API key, that's fine. But anything that's private, you need to actually add additional OAuth to it. Okay, so to perform OAuth in Flow, we'll need to create a custom connection to help us negotiate and get the token to update. So the action, let me just delete this. So I'll quickly show you how that works. So I've created an action, and we'll go and talk about how to build this action in a minute. But let me just show you. This is gonna be the snippet will say this video is viewed that many times. So we're gonna call update video. This will call update to the YouTube API. It is connected with my Google account, which is the Gmail. Oh, I have a bunch. I need to go and delete them. Viewed a certain number of times. Category ID is also required, and we just take the existing category ID. So if I run this, so I see here the title is still 3 times. So the flow runs very quickly. It sends an update. This video is viewed 4 times now. And if I just refresh this, you see the title has already changed. This video is viewed 4 times. The next part, we're going to talk about how to build this custom connection. Okay, so firstly, let's pop over to data and custom connectors. Now to build this custom connection, we need a few things, and I'll show you the notes. So firstly, we look at the Google Data API for video update. It says a few things. It says you need to do a put. We need to do a put to this URL. Okay. We need one of these scopes, so we're just going to go with this basic one. This is still a fairly high level scope, permission scope. It basically allows the application a permission to manage all my videos. Okay, now we do require a part, which is, which part of this segment we're gonna update. You can see there's a bunch of segments. So we're gonna need a parameter query string that's called part, and we actually need it to be snippet because the title is in the snippet. We don't need the optional parameter. Now you must have these. So you must have the ID, snippet title, and snippet category ID. Okay, so that is this. So the body must be something like this. We specify the ID of the video, and then we have the snippet title and the snippet category ID. Okay, so we can get the category ID from the existing video, so that doesn't need to change, but we will be changing the title. Okay, now we also pop over to the API now, And this part probably took me the most to kind of get my head around. So there's a few steps here. You're gonna need to create an OAuth client ID because now we don't want to just read, we want to also read and write. So create an OAuth, and I'll go through the steps with you. Create OAuth. It will ask you what kind of application you're trying to make. We are going to make a web application, okay? And it's gonna give us a name. Now, when we create a web application, and we're gonna need to come back to fill in the redirect, but let's just create now. And it's gonna give you a chance to copy out your client ID and client secret. So copy that out, and you're gonna need client ID, and you're gonna need client secret. Okay, so and you can see your web client ID is here, the second one. Okay, now we need to come back to this in a sec, but let's pop over to our custom connection. So I've already got my YouTube one. I'm going to build a new one from scratch so you understand. You can build this with me. So we're going to go new flow YouTube demo. So this is a demo one. You know this is a completely separate one from the one I built earlier. Now we're gonna need a few pieces. We're gonna need basically this URL. But you can see the whole API is probably this whole part is probably common. So let's take all that. So we're gonna need that. We don't need the HTTPS because it's already here. It's the base URL starts with the slash, but let's take this whole thing. Let's say all that. So that leaves us just videos to define. So that's check. That looks all good. Next, we're gonna need OAuth Authentication. And in fact, there is already a Google provider, so pick that. And now we're gonna need a few pieces of this. We're gonna need the client ID, and then we're gonna need the client secret that we will copy earlier. And remember our scope. Our scope is, oh, we did not copy the scope. Where is the scope? We need this scope, which is this one. Okay, so this is a scope. Oh, we do have scope. It's this one. So we do have it. Okay, so we need that scope. Now we're going to create this connector. Okay, it will be saved, and you will get this redirect here. See this redirect URL? So we need to copy that redirect URL, go back to our web client, which is this one, and add this authorized redirect. So we're gonna put that right in there, and that's a Microsoft URL, but we're gonna actually save that. Okay, and then what else do we do? So we have a client ID. There is one more piece that you will need to do. I've done it already, but you will need to do. Go to the OAuth Consent, and the first time you hear this won't be set up, but basically either you create this OAuth screen, and the only thing you need here is the kind of application name. So give it a name. The support email will be you by default. You must add this scope. So you must add the scope that we just picked, which is the YouTube. So this one, the YouTube data API. So pick that one, which gives you manage YouTube account. So you must add that. A bunch of these will appear and say to be, you will need this to be verified before you can, for other people to trust you. So that goes through a 3 or 4 week process. But for your own, if you want to just use it yourself, you don't need the verification. So just save this. So you don't need to verify, just save this. And then that should be all pretty good. So once you save, you should come back to a screen. Let's come back here. So over here, we've updated the connector. We've went back and updated the Google app to say that's a valid redirect. We don't have to define any method yet. We can hop over to test first. So over here, we're going to try to create a connection. So if you hit the connection, you'll see the connection dialog will pop up, and I have a separate video about how you can understand what's happening with the connection dialog. It is performing an OAuth 2 handshake. You'll see this dialog that appears that says, hey, do you want to continue using your Gmail account? And it will say something like continue to the Azure API M, because that's the redirect URL that we will go to afterwards. So that's the kind of the messaging that appears. Now, if you're using it for yourself, it's fine. Now, when you sign in, and also you may need to do two-factor, your second factor from your phone. When you sign in, you'll actually be redirected to this pretty scary looking page. It says, this app is not verified. And remember I said I created the key for my own use. Okay, so it's basically saying if you want this to be trusted by everyone, you should make this a verified key. Now, if you're just building this for your own use, then that you don't have to wait that 4-week process. So hit advance, 4 days to several weeks. I don't really know. So hit advance, which is going to show you this go to Azure API M unsafe. But if you just click that link, that's going to actually take you to the grant. Okay, so you're going to be asked something like this. I've already granted the permission, so it's basically just asking again. But the first time it will say you are granting this application, your email address, and also to manage your YouTube account. So you're granting these two permissions. Hit that allowed. That's gonna go to Google's gonna redirect back to the Azure redirection page with the token, and that token is now captured by Flow. You see this dialog has come up. So now we actually have a connection to the Google API. Now, if I pop over to definition, let's just quickly add an action to show. And we'll call this Git video. And we'll just import this from a sample. It's going to be Git. The URL is this one. So, and so this is basically the part, which is something we call snippet. It's required. It's just make it advanced. And then ID is definitely required and it's important. Okay. And doing a quick test, if we do snippet and then we do the ID and we do a test, you'll see it's a successful and we got back the video. This video is being viewed 4 times. Okay, so you'll notice this time we're using a custom connection to query the video, and because the custom connection wraps around our OAuth, the OAuth token is used, and this request does not actually require an API key. Okay, so this is using the OAuth to request information regarding our video. Now, the update that I then do is we can let's just pop into the Swagger editor, which is a little bit quicker. We're basically gonna say we want another one. It's gonna be a put. And I might just type this. Yep, so let's do that. That's gonna be called update video. Update video. We do need the path. Do we need a query? We don't need the ID here. No, we need the body. So we're gonna do that. Which one's this? That one's get video. This one's update video. So we're gonna change this as update video. And what have we got? That's actually wrong. It's required. Yeah, that's pretty wrong. Let's just redo this bit. So import from sample, we're gonna need a put. It's gonna be a part snippet, and the body is gonna. Let's just do an empty body. It's nice and easy. Yep. Let's update this a little bit. It's required snippet and it's advanced. And that's the body. Okay, so let's update that. And if I pop back over to test, we can say, let's get the video. Okay, and then we can do an update. So we're gonna update, we need the snippet, and then we're gonna send a body. And the body we're gonna send is this. Okay, so let's just make it like so. And you'll see the update is also successful. And we have changed the video to be question mark. Okay, so if we pop back and have a look at the video, you'll see the question, the title has been changed to a question mark. Okay, so that is how to build that custom connection. So once you have this built, then if you come back to your flow, you could add the custom connection. In fact, I can show you what that might look like. Add a new action. Search for your custom connection. You'll be under here. I think that one is the demo one. And then you could do update video. It may ask you to sign in. You shouldn't need to. Okay, it may. If it asks you to sign in, then you will be reprompted that Google Auth flow, which will create the connection. So it says yes. We're gonna continue. Gonna skip over this and say yep, go anyway. Gonna grant permission. Make sure you trust Microsoft. And when you come back here, you will get your connection. You get the body. The parts is a hidden one, and then you get the body. So I can just paste that in. So that's gonna, what's it gonna do? It's gonna actually update that to, let's just change that to this. Okay, so we perform a new action again. If you add a new connection, make sure you run a scratch, not just rerun. It's gonna ask, hey, you make sure you have a connection correctly, and then you can run. Okay, so that runs pretty quick. It's gonna update the video to 5 times. That's a new connector. That's the previous connector I built. And yeah, I'm just gonna, the last step for me actually is I'm gonna just get rid of this trigger. And I'm gonna change it to a, I'm gonna change it to a standard recurrence trigger. schedule, and we won't run every minute. That's too crazy. We'll run, let's say, every day. And let's run a couple times a day. Let's run so every 4 hours it's gonna run, and then it's gonna update my video. Okay, so we're gonna just save that. And I don't need to run the 2 updates. I'm just gonna delete the second one. There's a bunch of bad connections. I'm gonna have to clear it out as well. So let me save that. If I head out, you see it's already ran automatically once. Okay, so every 4 hours it will go and check how many views on that video, and then it's gonna update that video. Awesome. All right. Hope you like and enjoyed this video. So let's just double check it one more time. Cool. So every 4 hours it will read this number and then update this title. Well, I think that was a fun one, and I will record this and put this video up, and then I'm actually gonna change the flow so that it updates this video. Okay, so thank you for geeking out with me. Hope you enjoyed this one, and there's a lot of in-depth about the Google API, how to auth, how to build custom connections for it. Hope you enjoy all that. And if you like this, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.